Another one? Oh, another Reawakened banner. Oh. We'll go over that too. I hate that this says beginners. I bet you this is going to be red crystals again. The last beginners banner was a premium only pull. And if that's the case again, it's going to be very difficult for me to like not be a jerk about it. Like, I'll be nice, but man alive, they just don't learn, dude. They just don't learn. That's crazy. Let's check the stamp card. You do get one automatically. That's good, at least. Boy, howdy, that is such a bummer. I listen, if these banners were 2,500 crystals and it was blue crystals, I would tell you that this is decent. If you haven't gotten these, if you just started recently, or because this goes through until the middle of August, they're gonna pull some people in for the Dragon Quest collab that starts in August, right? So there's a chance that they may pull on this. This banner has some really great weapons on here. The 5 weapons that they have featured here, of these 5, the only one that I would say has like fallen off a little bit is Tifa's Bahamut gloves. But realistically speaking, it's still a really good weapon. Like, it does decent damage. It increases your entire team's magic attack without a heal. And we saw in the last guild battle, they're starting to give status effects where they block healing effects. And so having a way to increase your damage without a heal may be important moving forward. So it's not a bad weapon, it's just not as useful, and it's because of, specifically, this weapon on the far left, which raises your entire team's magic attack and lowers the entire enemy team's magic defense, which is just, not even arguably, just completely, totally better, right? So yeah, so I'll go through this still, just as a quick breakdown, because I've gone over these before. If you want a full breakdown on all these outfits and everything, I have all of these on YouTube, and you can check them out. Because none of these have changed. All of the outfits are exactly the same. All of the weapons are exactly the same. They didn't buff any of these things. They're all exactly what they were before. And so all of those videos are up. The only thing that I would say in general is that anything that has an Arcanum, which right now is only Vincent's, is not weak. It's just weaker than what we're currently seeing. And Vincent's is offset by the fact that he gets Reprieve. So all of these outfits for the most part are going to be good. We're gonna break it down right now. Vincent is still the highest magic damage dealer for Earth, specifically for Earth, and specifically for magic. I doubt that's gonna change anytime soon. This is a great weapon. Vincent has a really good offensive offhand weapons for Earth DPS as well, including a weapon that does an AoE magic defense down while buffing his Earth DPS, and another weapon that lowers Earth resistance. Both of those weapons are great in his offhand. Both of those weapons have great R abilities for his offhand, and they're both featured. So White Dog is still one of the best Earth weapons in the game. It's still great for Vincent. I would say that if you pulled on the Tifa banner earlier in the year, at half anniversary, that had that physical Earth damage weapon, you're probably fine, right? There are a couple of enemies that I can think of off the top of my head that are specifically weak to magic Earth. Like the big wide robot is weak to magic Earth. And so it's a definite like cool thing to have in that circumstance, but even that enemy is weak to more than just Earth, right? It's weak to, I think it's also weak to water. So there are other options available. You definitely don't have to you don't need this, but it is very solid. The Earthblade Arcanum is another 35% damage to Earth. Reprieve is one of the best effects in the game. Lets you cheese some content at high levels, which is great. Outfit's great. Excellent banner. Excellent outfit. Excellent weapon. Everything's great. Going over to Tifa, Bahamut Fangs, like I said before, does really solid damage. Magic attack on allies and magic ability potency is very, very good. Makes it a very good offhand weapon for Tifa if you don't have anything else going on, although she has a lot of really great weapons that compete for that spot at this point. It is still an option. It's also a great sub weapon because it gives magic attack on allies, which is helpful, and magic ability potency, which is also good. The ability itself does 1100% damage, which is a little bit on the lower side for non-elemental, but it also has the ability to give her a haste while also buffing your entire team's magic attack. At the time of release last September, this was really, really strong. We have since had a weapon or two that are a little bit better than this, right? Not necessarily outclassing this, but made that effect a little bit less useful, right? But at the time, this was the first instance of magic attack all. like increasing your entire team's magic attack. Since this weapon release, they have released quite a few weapons that increase your entire team's magic attack, and a lot of them are featured. So there are a lot of options in the game now. This is less necessary or useful as it was a year ago, but still pretty strong. The outfit itself gives 10% magic attack and 10% magic ability potency when the stance is filled. Just an extra 10% damage is fine. The 10% magic attack is actually a pretty big buff. It's not a huge amount of damage, but an extra 10% magic attack is not bad, especially when you're not sure what kind of DPS you want or if it's immune to all of the elemental damage. 10% magic attack specifically is pretty good because it takes your 12,000 magic attack, right, and increases it by 1,200, which is that's a huge number, right? Because when your damage is 1,100% of your magic attack, increasing it by 1,200% or 1,200, the magic attack stat itself is a huge buff. So it's solid. Attack all allies, I've mentioned before, it's a solid R ability. We have weapons that do this now, so this has largely become less useful, I'll say, to put it mildly. It's just become less useful because we have attack all ally sub weapons now. So the outfit itself is not that great. Probably the lowest of the lot here in terms of priority. In terms of the Daffodil outfit, Blue Daffodil gloves still remain as one of the best weapons for Tifa in the offhand. Also does 1100% non-elemental damage, but gives her a 40% exploit weakness at OB6+, which is turned into almost a necessity for some high-level content. That said, we have since had a weapon release for Yuffie that it gives your entire team exploit weakness, and although it's 30% instead of 40, it is a featured weapon and therefore much easier to get to higher overboost levels. So if you didn't have this before, it's still good at OB0. I can tell you that for a fact because I have it at OB0 and the 25% is still helpful. But we are eventually going to get that Yuffie guitar up to OB10. It is eventually going to give us that 30% boost. And for that purpose in particular, in that circumstance, I think I'm almost always just going to use the guitar. That's not to say this is useless. It's still very strong and will be for a very long time. But it requires OB6 to be more useful than a featured weapon that's already in the pool. And so just food for thought on that end, right? The outfit, on the other hand, is probably the choice if you're going to go on all the way in on the stamp card. This has an Omni Arcanum, which gives an extra 30% damage to every single element in the game, while also having Reprieve, which again is one of the best abilities in the game, especially for high level content. This is a great effect. These two paired together is still one of the best outfits in the game today. And the outfit itself does look great. Yeah, this is actually my favorite Tifa outfit, unironically. I actually like this outfit a lot. But yeah, so this is a great outfit. It's a great weapon. Everything's fantastic. It's definitely, if you told me that you had expendable income and you wanted to get one of the 5 outfits that are here, this is the one I would recommend if you don't have it already. In terms of the Aerith outfit from Bahamut, the Bahamut robe itself is fine. Physical attack or physical defense and magic defense is great. 10% healing potency is great. Aerith has had a couple of outfits come out recently that do this plus more, including another one that's on this list. And once again, attack all allies, not super useful anymore because we have our abilities on weapons that do this for us, right? So it's not useless, it's just not as useful as when it came out last September, but it is here, it is solid. Bahamut Rod remains one of the best, if not the best healing weapon in the game. It is being competed with Matt's recent Limit Break weapon. However, this one giving +1 ATB at 90% or less HP at OB10 is insanely strong. And the ability to have an Asuna All slot is also very good. If you did not pull on the Matt banner, which God willing you did, I really hope everybody got that weapon. If you didn't though, this helps a lot with the Asuna All slot. It's definitely very important to have just one copy of this. If you do not have Matt's weapon, right? Matt's weapon already does this. If you have an Asuna All with Matt, you're good to go. But this is also still very strong. Magic attack all allies is obviously very good. The effect itself is very strong. Physical defense up is also very good. It's a great weapon. This has not been outclassed. I doubt it will anytime soon. Like even Matt's weapon is like only situationally better, just like this is situationally better. And so it's still really strong. The last banner of this, or the last portion of this, is the Crimson Staff. This is one of the best buff debuff weapons in the game. It has buff debuff extension as an R ability, as well as giving your entire team high magic attack increase and decreasing the entire enemy team's magic defense by high. Being locked behind a 70% HP threshold is kind of tough, just because generally speaking, Aerith isn't necessarily bringing in a ton of tank stats. She's usually bringing in supportive effects, healing weapons, or healing effects, stuff like that. And so sometimes she'll fall below this threshold and she'll lose that magic defense debuff and you'll have to heal. But Aerith has really great weapons to help get her up to that threshold again. And with the Crimson, or I'm sorry, with the Bahamut Rod, you can actually hit max magic attack all allies between those two weapons, while also getting really great R abilities with supportive art abilities. So it also has a cure all slot if you wanted to use this on its own and do a more offensive build with Aerith. Also has a heal boost slot, which helps get your single target heals a little bit better. So if you want to have somebody just, you know, buff up a single target heal, you can do that too. Solid weapon. I use this on basically every single magic stage. I'm using this weapon. It's very, very strong. And the Festive Crimson Attire, Reprieve, obviously still very, very good. The New Year's Protection, this is less useful. The healing potency plus 20 is great. HP plus 10%, as we've seen on these most recent damage focused banners. 10% is not a lot anymore. It wasn't back then. It isn't now. Those damaged outfits have 15% on them, so 10% is a little underwhelming. And not having a defensive set on this ability makes her a little bit more squishy, which then makes it easier for her to fall under that 70% threshold for Crimson Staff. So food for thought, it's still pretty good. Obviously Reprieve is very strong and there will be areas where Reprieve is very good. So the outfit itself, also one of my favorites for Aerith as well. Very, very good. I love both of these festive outfits for Tifa and Aerith. But yeah, overall, like I said, if I was pulling in order, I would probably say that Aerith's probably number one. Tifa's Daffodil a very close second in terms of the outfits. I'm talking about the outfits specifically. Well, hang on, let me back up. I was talking about the weapons there. In terms of the outfits, Daffodil would be first. And then second, I don't think I would do anybody else's besides Vincent's. The Reprieve outfit for Aerith is fine. I could understand an argument for that. I think they're pretty neck and neck to me. But I feel like the 35% extra damage on Vincent will end up being more useful to you down the road than the 20% heal potency and the 10% HP. That's just my opinion. I think they're both probably on the same tier. It's like a 2A, 2B thing. And then for me, I wouldn't even bother with either Bahamut outfit. Both of these have been pretty outclassed at this point. It's been almost a year. They're still useful in certain situations, but again, most of these have been outclassed. You probably have outfits for Tifa and Aerith specifically that have outclassed these already, and so I wouldn't worry too much about it. As I wrap this up, when I talk about specifically this banner, I'm just giving you my objective opinion based on the current state of the game, the outfits and stuff that Aerith and Tifa have had available, my subjective opinion based on how I feel about the balance of the game right now, whether or not they're really necessary. The truth of this is that I don't think this is even worth your red crystals. If you just want one copy of one of the weapons because it only takes one pull to get that weapon, that's absolutely fine. Have absolutely no issue with that. You want to get that one copy, you're good to go. If you get a couple extra stamps, you get some extra consumable stuff, that's great, right? And you can get up to 4 copies of one of the weapons because you can change this over to all of the same thing and just have like all white dog, right? And so there is some value to that. If you wanted to try to like build something out, if you wanted to get 4 copies of Tifa's Daffodil gloves, right, and her outfit, you could do that. The problem is that if you roll poorly on the stamps, that could end up costing you 12 times 2,500, right? That's a lot, dude. That's just a big ask, man. I don't know. Because like, what is it, 30,000? It's 30,000, right? 30,000 red crystals, to put this in perspective. And this is why and obviously with the stamp cards, you're probably not spending that much money. But 10,000 of those red crystals is $70. If you do poorly on if you get one stamp on every single pull, you're looking at 30,000 crystals or $210 for 3 copies or 4 copies of a weapon and an outfit. That's insane. That's insane. And that for an outfit that has largely been like power gapped at this point, or power crept at this point, it's a big ask. And so that's where I really draw an issue with Applibot and Square Enix with this, man. It's really difficult for me to support buying currency in this game. Like, this is not a good use of your red crystals, right? Red crystals are already too expensive, if I'm gonna be so for real with you, because that 10,000 crystals there is 3 pulls. Generally, it's 3 pulls. On this one, it's 4, right? So that's at least a little bit better. But that's $70 for 4 pulls, and you could genuinely strike out, right? Like, you only get 1 guaranteed, and in 4 pulls, if you get 1 stamp on all 4 pulls, which we've seen happens, right? You could get 1 guaranteed copy and get 0 others in those 4 pulls and completely strike out for $70. That's way too much money to get absolutely nothing, right? Way too much money. When it comes to the pull rates, let's double check the odds really quick. Does have a boost for limited moon on this one still, which is nice. All of the limit break, that's crazy. The limited weapons, which is the reason you're pulling on this banner, has a lower odds than your wish list. That is unacceptable. Please don't pull on this. I'm begging people. Like, if you have to do a one and done, that's fine. I get it. You want to get that 1 copy for 2,500 red crystals. I totally get it, right? But the odds of you actually getting something you want from this and not just featured weapons, which you're gonna get over time anyways, is so incredibly low. And like, I want to support the premium currency in this game, and they make it so damn difficult. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Like, just so frustrating. But I've said my piece. That's that banner. We can move on. Again, if you want to pull on it, I'm not going to judge it. Do whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's your money. It's your game, right? But just from a reasonable standpoint, we have the Dragon Quest collab is coming out in August. That's in 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. We're only 2 weeks away from August. And then anniversaries in September. So there are going to be better places to spend your money than on this. And so I just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Not to mention, all of these weapons, by the way, are available in those limit break metal pulls in the ticket banners over here, right? So I wouldn't bother. You'll get these over time anyways as you continue to pull on other banners. And none of these are that good besides Crimson Staff and Bahamut Rod. You can get by 99% of this content without it, right? So I'd avoid it.